What's happening, y'all? Raymond back again, coming to you from Overexaggeration Pro Shop and Training Center inside Waterford Lanes. That you can see is closed because I got the place to myself. Came in to do a couple of videos, bring you all kinds of training tips and all kinds of stuff like that, so that way you can spend time throughout the summer when you're not on the golf course and whatnot. You can spend time in the summer getting better at bowling, bettering your game, making your techniques better, all of that stuff. So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about the differences in things, and sometimes you have to over exaggerate things, and sometimes you have to do things what some coaches would call wrong in order to get you to feel things. So especially one of the things that I like to teach when I come in with lessons is, I don't even say it's a teach, it's just I analyze how the bowler is adapting and responding to the things that I'm asking them to do. And if they're going through the motions and they're still not feeling or getting what I'm saying, I will do things completely opposite. So like for instance, let's today talk about getting to the inside part of the ball and rotating the ball properly. A lot of times I have people who they just don't seem to quite get a grasp on it, and they don't understand or feel their hand to the inside part of the ball. So I will tell them to do the opposite. So let's take trying to get around the ball, actually. Let's go there. We're going to go try to get around the ball. For the guys that are, and the gals that are very forward up the back, and they are on top of the ball and they can't quite get their hand around the ball, I'm going to show you one of the things that I actually do in order to help myself get around it more, which may look funny, but it works for me. It worked this last weekend, and maybe it'll work for you too. So some people have a really hard time trying to get their hand to go from rolling up the back of the ball this way to being able to get their hand to go and wrap around and get your hand to rotate around the side of the ball. So a lot of the people, when they get there and they come through here, let me kind of lower that down just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. A lot of the people, they'll get there and they'll be here, and then when they get through it, they're just boom, and it's just right there, straight through the back. They have a hard time feeling themselves get around the ball. So what I like to do when I get set up, I'm gonna get closer so you can see, normally I'm playing straight, I'll be just like this. It's gonna be firm wrist, straight, more up the back of the ball, and then I'm gonna be releasing it from that point too. Ball's gonna come right through there, and it's gonna be through the ball. When I want to get around the ball, I have to over exaggerate it. This is what I was talking about. This may look funny. This may not seem like the correct thing to do because it's me putting my hand on top of the ball, but this helps me to get the feel before I even start moving. Sometimes it's important to have a feeling in your head that you need to get to before you start moving so you can feel that at the end. So for me, when I want to get around it, I actually go and I put my hand more on top of the ball and rotate down this way. So anybody ever watch Missy Parkin? Missy Parkin's another one. Missy Parkin's a good example. Brad Angelo is another one that likes to get his hand on the top. For me, this helps me to get that feeling of letting my fingers roll off the side of it rather than up the back of it. So I got to get that feeling of getting it to where I can rotate around the side in order to create rotation. So let me show you a difference between when I'm trying to roll it up the back compared to when I'm trying to rotate around the side. So when I'm trying to roll the ball through the back, what my hand does, and I'll just try to do it nice and slow right here. When I'm rolling it up the back, my hand is usually here, and I just come through. And it's just that way, straight through it. It's rolling up the back. I don't normally roll it over the thumb. That maybe be a little bit extreme, but that's what I normally do when I roll through the back of it. Now, when I'm trying to get my hand to rotate around the ball, again, I'm going to be starting in this position here to get it to where I can feel like I'm going this way and rotating around the ball. So as I do that, I get there. And I can rotate my hand to get the ball around the entire lane. All right, so there you go. So that is my example of how I have to teach myself to do one thing. So for you, maybe you have to focus on throwing a backup ball. like when it comes to getting behind the ball, if you're already somebody that really gets around it and you wrap your hand to the top and you can't get below it, maybe you need to focus and make some shots with trying to throw a backup ball. I don't know how many times I've had lessons with people who get their hand on the top and they spin it and they rotate it off the top. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We got to get our hand more inside and roll through the back of it a little bit more. In that way, and I'm trying to over exaggerate things so that way they get to where they need to be, because nobody really needs to be straight up the back. You've got to create rotation, but we want to do it from the proper part of the ball. So I like to teach people who have a hard time doing this to throw backup balls, to get your hand inside and roll a backup ball. It's a lot easier for women because of the way their bodies are built. Their arms actually face more outward when their hands are sitting resting. Their hands face more outward, where men, we face more inward. You know, so our hands, our elbows are more outward and the inside of our elbows are towards our body. Whereas when women are standing this way, their elbows are a little bit more outward. In most cases, that's not all cases, but women's bodies are just built different. So they have an easier time throwing backup balls than men do. So getting our hand to that inside part, over exaggerating to make a backup ball motion is what we need to do to be able to roll up the back of the ball more. So use both of these tips the next time you go practice. If you're having trouble getting around the ball, just make sure you get your hand on top and feel like you're really getting your fingers on the side of the ball. A lot of the times when you over exaggerate, you think you're doing more. Like I feel like I'm doing 90 degrees of rotation. You know, people tell me it's maybe 60. I mean, that's probably true. So if you feel like you're spinning it and you're getting around it compared to what your normal release is, try to think it's probably in between. So go work on these techniques, go work on practicing these types of things. And remember, over-exaggeration isn't a bad thing. And sometimes you have to do things what coaches would consider wrong in order to get your body to do things correctly. So go do that. Hit the like, comment below, let me know what you think of this. Go practice, and until next time, I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later.